I've just zoomed in with Heath Gear from Palliser Insolvency. He's a owner of a business that sort of specialises in dealing with businesses in financial stress and working with them to sort of get the best outcomes for all stakeholders. Is that a fair pitch?
Yeah, absolutely. We're mostly dealing with corporate entities, businesses, and people that maybe things aren't going too well for them, or going as well as they would like. And so we have a look and see if there's any way forward that their position can be improved, and if not, what's the best way to sort of wind things up to settle the most out for the creditors and the other stakeholders that are involved in the business.
Yeah. Well, I thought you'd be a good guy. I've dealt with you a bit over the years, and I thought you'd be a good guy with kind of a few different hats, as we sort of talked about, to show a bit of a valuable perspective at the moment. But I thought you're sort of dealing with those owners, some who will want to be dealing with you, some who won't. What's your sort of take at the moment on their headspace? Like, how stressed are they? What sort of feelings are they having in terms of what you're exposed to?
I think, it's been interesting for me so far. What we've seen is actually there's been a fair bit of resiliency. I think that the situation is obviously unprecedented and unique. And so there was a lot of uncertainty initially, and I think when this was all looming and when the lockdown happened, we thought that potentially there was a rather large health crisis, and we were flattening the curve so that the hospitals weren't going to be overwhelmed. And then that moved on to, obviously we did that successfully, and there was a good team of 5 million managed to avoid that crisis. And so then we've sort of moved into the way sheer luck or good planning, and then we've now moved into more obviously the economic recovery phase. There's a fair bit of opinions out there around what that is going to look like. Obviously no one knows, so that creates a lot of uncertainty for a business owner, but it's been quite asymmetrical as well. And obviously I'm no expert or anything like that on the economy, but we've got varying people, businesses like us and our support businesses, which perceive that we're going to be fairly busy in the coming year or so. And other businesses, the infrastructure sector, forestry, all those sorts of things, there's looking like some real opportunities out there, funding going to be going to those areas, and right across to the hospitality industry, international tourism. So there's definitely been very wide varying degrees of emotion throughout this, and I think that the people that we've been dealing with after coming out of lockdown and those sorts of businesses, I mentioned resiliency, but also I guess we're seeing the people that are being proactive. But also obviously during the time they've sort of had that level of detachment or sober assessment, or they've been receiving external advice. So those people that we've been talking to currently have been the ones that have probably been a bit more decisive and proactive. So while there is a sort of a level of maybe a bit of sadness, and it's a little bit emotional about the state that they've found themselves, often through no fault of their own. It might just be that the industry that they've been involved in, they have still, as I said, the headspace has been quite good, and they are keen to, I guess, sort of assess the situation and change what needs to be changed. And look, what's happened. We can't change that, but what we can change is what we can deal with is our attitude and how we solve what's in front of us now. So we've seen a fair bit of that. But I think that, and also I guess the other people that we deal with a lot are creditors who are also business owners themselves. And they are, in very similar positions to those business owners that we're talking to that are in financial distress. And there's the whole domino effect that happens, when we deal with a company that can't pay its creditors. We've seen that in the past, with the big building collapses, the likes of Mainzeal, the flow-on effect that had for the subcontractors and then the support businesses to the subbies and all that sort of thing was quite huge. And so I think, obviously, once again, given the unprecedented nature of things, I think that there is a lot of genuine concern out there, but I do feel like people have got more tolerance, patience, kindness than maybe if it was just business as usual.
So
I think that
in there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you'd see with yours guys, but I think as we return more towards that business as usual, then I think that obviously people rightly are probably going to lose a bit of patience and more of their stresses are going to come in.
The fear and distress and everything pre-lockdown and then going into lockdown, and then the lockdown almost forced people to stop and think and decant, and maybe that patience kind of kicked in and everything. And so maybe it was more calculated actions and, as you said, I think the proactive responses. But then it might be interesting what happens now as business and busyness come back in, stress will go up, and perhaps people will start reacting at like a lesser capacity.
Yeah. Well, as mortgage holidays end, wage subsidies end, and that financial squeeze tightens up, then unfortunately, I think that's going to affect people a bit negatively mentally, and it's just about sort of trying to stay out of your own head a bit at that point, isn't it? And control the controllables and talk to who you need to talk to. We're always big believers in that all of us are smarter than one of us. Yeah. And so I always find, we are always looking for opinions of how to deal with stuff, whether it's as a business owner or, how to do something in this particular industry or this particular job, a better way to deal with staff, or even in your personal life. So I think that, it's been really important for us. We've noticed the amount of people that have come out of the woodwork to sort of provide help to us or to other business owners. Accountants, I think you probably had your busiest week in that first week of lockdown in a long time. There's been sales consultants, lawyers, commercial finance brokers, all sorts of people happy to, put out free advice or consultation or resources and all that sort of stuff to sort of help people dealing with what people are dealing with.
Yeah, and I mean yourself included as well. I know I've rang up and chewed your ear over a few things, which has been good.